Hello everyone and welcome to another Stellaris video. Recently there's been a lot of hype for psionic empires, and rightfully so. They're definitely pretty fun and can be strong in the right circumstances. But today I want to give you guys a quick reminder that I would say Biomorphosis is still the king of Ascensions, especially for 90% of playthroughs. It is the most solid mix of good scaling and solid early game. It can be played out of very many traditions, very many ways to play it, and it is generally extremely strong. In this world here, we're just after year 50. We already have 2 Accumulinopolises done. We have 4,000 tech, almost 300,000 fleet, equaling 101,500 naval cap. And in addition to that, we have 3 more Accumulinopolises coming along, and we'll be scaling to infinity with Cosmogenesis coming along very, very soon. All of this was done whilst building a fleet since year 30, significantly over the naval cap, and with my mistake of forgetting to include a Minister of Defense until literally just 1 year ago. And let me show you guys just how strong this build has been throughout the years. If we take a look at year 22, we can see that at this time we already have a very, very solid basic economy with good research speed and a very reliable source of pops because we are already finished ascending thanks to Overtuned. And in addition to that, are easily preparing our alloys and our food production for our bioships, getting ready for that year 30 war effort. From year 30, we can already see we have a very solid defensive fleet of over 20,000 and an army in case we wanted to invade anyone. And thanks to having a lucky empire next to us where we could form a trade federation, a ridiculously strong economy featuring over 1,000 unity, nearly 1,400 tech, and a solid amount of alloys and food that allow us to continuously build up ships and eventually go way over our naval cap, as you will see. At this point in the game, when you're playing with Ascension, you're basically limited only by planetary build speed, as you have more than enough pops to fill all the jobs, and you should even find like that most of your planets are stacking at least a few civilians, or maybe not, but yeah, at this point you're just about managing to get all your jobs filled in, and you'll experience really, really fast growth from here on out. And if you don't overcap on naval capacity, just for like showcase sake, you can have an even more ridiculous alloy and food economy that, to be honest, you can't even store properly. By year 40, you guys can see I'm already 1,000 naval cap out of 500. This is extremely inefficient for our ship upkeep, but it is generally very difficult to stay under your naval capacity when you have when you're playing Biomorphosis. And if you were min-maxing, you would try to get more planets, as every additional planet you find can stop you from overcapping on naval capacity, and you can scale even harder. If we take a look at our fleet at year 40, we have 127,000 fleet power worth of pretty decent maulers. I believe the tech on these is a little sus, but yeah, just tier 2 composite mandibles and okay shield and other things, but still a very solid ship for year 40 in general. And we already have 2 arcology projects that are halfway or almost done and are looking fantastic. And then, of course, here we are back at year 51, where at this point you've basically entered creative mode. Even on Grand Admiral, I believe basically every empire will be triple pathetic. This empire is actually very strong. They're only inferior. But even the Grand Admiral AIs with no scaling have basically no chance at this point. As you just scale to such a crazy point, and at this point you're just going to be rolling for megastructures, Fallen Empire technologies, and kind of playing the game on creative mode. So, how did we get here? Or more specifically, how did I get here, and what build did I play? Well, here we are, and of course I'm playing Overtuned. I believe Overtuned is still probably the strongest origin that is not commonly banned in multiplayer. It is commonly restricted, and I will show you guys how to play under the most common restrictions as well. Maybe in a later video, maybe today, we'll find out. And essentially, how we want to do this is we want to ascend as soon as possible, and why Overtuned is great is it allows you to ascend with your second Ascension perk instead of your third. The most common restriction in multiplayer is you can't select Biomorphosis until your third Ascension pick, in which case another, I would say a different build other than what I'm doing is a little bit better. But anyhow, essentially what we're doing is we're going to be playing with anglers and Moralists. If you don't want to play with bioships, because this build does utilize the bioship set, you can go ahead and exchange anglers out for, in my opinion, the best option is parliamentary system. On some multiplayer builds, parliamentary is restricted as well, but when you start talking about multiplayer rule sets, there's too many different variations to be considered in one video. So instead, we're going to be just using this kind of basic species portrait and our favorite trait, seasonal dormancy, to give a nice boost to civilians, as we're definitely going to be using those in the early game in order to support our economy. So whenever I play Biomorphosis, there's one thing I like to do, which is I like to turn my planets up just a little bit. I'm using 1.25 habitable planets, and I'm using only 5 AI empires to give myself a little bit more space so that I can potentially find 5 or 6 planets, because if you have any less than 5 planets, I would say Biomorphosis is not as strong as some other builds, because it is not as vertical as many of the other builds I usually show off in some of these videos, like, say, Knights of the Toxic God. And another thing I've done that is a little bit cheeky, and I'd recommend you do this if you're playing any trade-based build, which this will be, is go ahead and put in a couple empires that are megacorps with the exact civics, trading posts, and franchising. Essentially, oops, that's not what I want to do. Essentially, what that does is this gives you really powerful branch offices that boost your traders to ridiculous efficiency levels, and I just include a couple of them to make sure that we get a commercial pack with one of them. And the reason why I show this is if you're playing in multiplayer, it's a very common tactic to play with a friend or something like that, where one person is a megacorp, and then use those branch offices to boost up the trader players' trade to a ridiculous level of efficiency, while also feeding the megacorp many energy credits. So yeah, overall, I would say it's not too unfair to show this off, as everyone has access to it and can do it in your own worlds. Just force spawn a couple of AI empires into your world with those traits, and you'll have a great time. If you can find them early enough. And I was very lucky I spawned next to both of them in my test build run. So if we're not as lucky here, we won't be scaling as fast. But even if we're only, say, 10 or 15% behind where we were in my example run, this is still a ridiculously powerful build. So we want to start out the early game essentially the way you start out in every early game, which is you go ahead and turn on Utopian Abundance, Consumer Goods Focus, and Isolationist, and if you're not mercantile, which we are currently not, and send your science ship out to, or one of your military ships out to explore, and your other science ship can start surveying any planets you find, and then on your homeworld start by clearing the sprawling slum, and then we'll go from there. We also want to open the mercantile tree right away, as any civilian build does, as when you're playing with civilians, they are just so ridiculously efficient with seasonal dormancy. Take a look at this. The upkeep is almost nothing and producing a very solid amount of resources. So much so that we even want to deprioritize unimportant other jobs throughout our empire, such as we don't need enforcers, we don't need this many agricultural workers, and we do have a little bit of crime, so maybe we do need some of those enforcers. Just keep it below 30%, and that's all you need essentially. And another thing we're going to do is we can either go with the trade focus leader or the architectural interest leader. In the long run, the architectural interest leader is better, so I'm going to go ahead and pick them up and then hope we roll into a trade focus leader on the architectural interest leader for the best possible results. And then we're also going to switch to Marketplace of Ideas. This will turn a portion of our trade into Unity, which is why we're already producing 129 Unity. If we're playing with Parliamentary System, I believe at this point we'd probably be looking at something even more ridiculous, like, if I were to guess, like 200, 230 Unity. So yeah, Parliamentary is definitely really strong, and I'd recommend it for most builds, but this build kind of requires anglers. Otherwise, it really doesn't work, as anglers are just such a powerful source of food, and a world or a game played, let's say you have a size 20 world for food. With anglers, it'll make over 4,000 food. Without, it'll be like 1,500 for the same amount of text. which is, as you can imagine, an enormous difference. It's almost like 2.5 times. Um, Anyhow, as you can see, we're scanning around looking for planets. We should have started a colony ship already, but thanks to talking, it can sometimes be a little bit distracting, and we're a little behind on that. So, not a huge deal. We're also going to turn our first industrial zone into a commercial nexus. That will give us a good source of trade and boost our unity even further. And then we can also start to support our economy simply by trade, and kind of prep for our year 10. You will notice that I am a democracy. A democracy is very cool because what it lets you do is it lets you reform your government and take different civics at just year 10 into the game. If you take any other form of government, you will need to wait until at least year 20, which means we'll be stuck with some early game traits like memorialist, which is really only useful in the early game. At least for bioempires, that we kind of want to get rid of it as soon as we can. A size 23 tropical world is amazing because that can be our long-term food world. Essentially, the way you want to organize your planets is you always want the largest planet you get to be your food world, as when you're playing with bioships, you need a ridiculous amount of food, and if you're trying to play on a small world, you're just not going to have a very good time. You're not going to have a very good time having enough food from like a size 14. Do keep in mind that thanks to bad Stellaris balancing, the amount of production that your worlds get scales non-linearly with the planet size, meaning a planet that's twice as big will give you 4 times as much resources from it. So thank you, Stellaris. At least for basic resources, it doesn't work like that for advanced resources, thankfully. Otherwise, there could be some ridiculous problems coming out. Anyhow, let's go ahead and expand the council as our first pick for that, and also one vision for the small boost in Unity. And at this point, we're just going to build a manual commercial zone. I would normally want to swap this archive over to another commercial nexus zone as well. The problem is the Sanctuary of Repose is this is a monument building, and monument buildings give you exactly what they say in the tooltip: trade and unity per civilian pop. Except for some reason, when you take memorialists, if you delete the building, you can't rebuild it. So apparently we forgot how to build the building. So if you get rid of this and turn this into commercial nexus and the Sanctuary of Repose disappears, you can't build another one. So we have to keep the archive zone here for at least a little bit throughout the game. And we'll get rid of it year 10 because at year 10 we'll have farmed enough unity to not have to worry about that anymore. Also, if you were on top of things, you probably should have noticed that I could have taken my first colony by now, but thanks to bad gameplay, we haven't, and I should also build this hydroponics farming bay and start the second colony ship as soon as I have enough food. For our second tradition pick, it seems like prosperity would be the best option, but it's actually statecraft. In fact, statecraft is so good, it's probably worth starting it before you finish mercantile, but I'm just going to do these linearly to keep things simple and not do like partial picks into things and that kind of thing, even though it's probably the right way to play. So we're just going to keep it simple and do this. Let's take a look. How many planets have we found? 1, 2 that aren't our guaranteed. Basically, the goal is to find 6 planets, right? If we have 6 planets, you have 1 planet for every major resource. 1 for food, 1 for minerals, 1 for tech, 1 for alloys, and 1 for naval capacity. Yes, you do need an entire planet just for naval capacity. Otherwise, there's basically no way to keep up, as bioships are extremely naval capacity, I wouldn't say inefficient because the ships are very powerful, but they're just very hungry for a lot of naval capacity. And going over your naval capacity will give you some big trouble with your alloys, which is definitely an experience that I'm pretty used to at this point. Anyhow, at this point, I think we're just going to start building city districts on our capital here. And in addition, you're going to want to build, at some point, 1 civilian industry. This will make managing your consumer goods much, much easier than without it. Even though it is possible, I would recommend it. Also, I'm going to hire 1 more leader here. And they're just going to be used to search some of these planets so I can try to figure out which is the best way I should be surveying. As it's not exactly clear right now. I just really need to know where the 6th planet would be, as it's very helpful. Another thing that you want to be doing around this time in the game when you're playing with any mercantile build or any build that plans to use trade is you want to find a planet that is 5 or more jumps inclusive, so like including 5, away from your capital. And the reason you want to do this is you can then form a trade federation with yourself, which is significantly faster and easier than forming a trade federation with an AI, which takes some RNG, which is why I described it as very lucky that I managed to form a trade federation so quickly in my practice run with my AI neighbors. The way we want to do this is basically colonize the world. Beautiful. Beautiful. 2 planets. It doesn't matter what kind. They could be 2 tomb worlds. A planet is a planet. That is all we need when playing Bio. So let's go ahead and scan that and make sure we colonize that as soon as we can. For your first planet, unless it has literally no mineral districts, you essentially always want to dedicate it to being your first mineral planet. Otherwise, you'll have some huge problems with having enough minerals as you enter the mid-game. So yeah, we're going to be focusing on minerals quite a lot there. Yeah, also just using these military ships to scan and look for just systems with planets. It's always a great idea. I would say the early game economy is kind of so tight, I would actually not recommend going so far as to even hire a second scientist ship. It seems a little ridiculous, but you really don't need it. And you'll need to spend 2 Unity to hire a leader, which is not much, but it's something. And you'll also need to build some alloys so that you can actually, have a ship, right? But we really want to be focusing most of our alloys just into colony ships, and of course, the star bases themselves, as we don't have a crazy amount of spare economy to do that with, and you kind of want just enough food at the same time as like just enough alloys. And I think we probably deprioritized a few too many. Yeah, usually want about 600 anglers, and that will give you just enough food to kind of keep up between alloys and food. And then we're also buying 4 alloys a month, and our consumer goods are just about positive, and the civilian industries will help a lot with that as well. And as you can see, we're also making a good amount of Unity at this point, but not a crazy amount. I would say that if you don't get a single Unity event, which can happen, it's relatively unlucky, you'll end up being able to start your Ascension at around year 6, near the beginning of year 6, and if you're relatively lucky, you'll be able to start your Ascension around, I would say, year 5, like the middle of year 5, something like that, which is already decent, right? But yeah, also, I don't like to forward settle here, as forward settling does waste your influence a lot, and this build does not produce good influence in the early game, especially since we are isolationist. If we do need to, like, say, satisfy an AI neighbor to make them, not kill us or something like that, and send envoys, it's going to eat like half a Unity, I think, or Unity per envoy or something like that, or not Unity, influence, sorry. So you don't have the spare influence to kind of forward settle and then backward settle, that kind of thing. So I just go one system at a time. And yeah, that's good enough for me, I guess. But it will slow down your colonization a bit, but I'd say only the first colony timing is really important. Everything after that, as long as you're making it as soon as you can, without rushing in any way, it's more than good enough. So very, very nice. Yeah. At this point, like, you can see that the basic economy is pretty strong thanks to Pearl Divers being so efficient, and we're also going to finish this probably, it looks like, around the beginning of year 6, as we only got 1 Unity event, and it wasn't a great one, and we're also not running a trade focus leader, which I guess matters a little bit more than I thought, to be honest. One thing you can do that will speed up your Ascension but make the game a little bit more complicated later on is turn off all your technicians and turn off all your specialists. However, I find that to be a little bit of a headache sometimes, so I'm just playing it simple and easy and leaving more jobs on than not, which will give me a bit of a buffer of basic resources in case I mess anything up later on. And that is definitely something that I tend to do when talking and playing at the same time, because yes, I barely have the brain capacity to even play the game in the first place, let alone talk and play at the same time. Um, so yeah, excuse the not perfect gameplay, I guess. But that's the lovely thing about Biomorphosis is you don't need perfect gameplay in order to completely rock any AI and even do pretty well in PvP if that's what you're interested in. Um, do keep in mind, if you're playing this in PvP, you will have to make some adaptations. Seasonal Dormancy is banned in most PvP lobbies, which means if you do an opening like this, you're going to have to focus a lot more energy into consumer goods, um, such as you're going to have to build the civilian industry right away. You might need two, and you're definitely have to dedicate a lot more of your basic resources to consumer goods. Um, which can be, I wouldn't say problematic, but a little bit of a challenge at times. What we're going to do here is we're actually going to start by building a medical center, and we're also going to start building a medical center on our capital. And essentially what we're doing here is we're trying to time this so that when we take immutable directives, um, and that will of course allow us to start out. Wow, this is like the slowest I think in all the testing games I've done on when I'm like gonna get this, because this is gonna be like the middle to later of year 6, which is, yeah, definitely the slowest in my experience. I guess I don't know what I did differently, to be honest. It's just a little bit slower, I guess. So not a huge deal though. Maybe we have one Unity event or something incoming that will save us. I have no idea. Um, Yeah, one thing we definitely need to look out for too is minerals from space. Any amount of minerals from space is a lifesaver, I would say. Also, I am going to forward settle for this Alpine world, as I do want to block the AI from expanding in this direction and potentially cutting me off on both sides. I need to probably expand a little bit on this side as well, but with just one measly science ship scanning, we are a little bit bottlenecked on scan speed, which is pretty funny. And you know what, let's just go on fast now, because I think the most complicated phase of the game is kind of through. The earlier parts of the game are definitely a bit harder, and the only next hard part of the game I'd say would be year 10. A lot of stuff to look out for at year 10, and then after that you're kind of home free, and the game gets a lot simpler micro-wise. So if you haven't done a genetic ascension before, or I guess it's a bio ascension now, essentially what you want to do is you're going to get 3 events throughout the process. Is going to ask you which path you want to take. The unintuitive thing is you actually want to take one of each, and the order matters as well, because depending on when you take it, you get different bonuses. And for the maximum scaling, you want to take mutation, purity, cloning in that order. And if you want something else, like if you want more pops, you can open cloning and then go between mutation and purity. I don't remember which one is better if you don't go the order I said. So I'm going to do what I said and go mutation, purity, cloning in that order. I do want to mention that that order is slightly, ever so slightly weaker in for year 30, as you won't have as many pops as somebody who did a different ordering. And as you can see, our genomic research facilities are timed well at the medical centers, and basically a medical center turns into like a genomic research facility and gives you research workers when it is done building. That's just in case you haven't played Ascension before, but I think most people who have played it should be pretty used to that by now. And as you can see, the situation is also going to be paused until you manage to build that building, which is why you want to build it right away, and also why you want to have at least some stockpile of minerals at all times, just in case you run into a situation where you need to build your way out of something. We do get a scrapper job here, which is pretty interesting. I think we're going to take it. Yeah, a little bit of extra alloys will actually let us do a lot of interesting things. Like, we can start to build up star bases just for economy. I'd say economy star bases, where you basically fill them with, say, trade platforms or solar panels, and the food building, I forget what it's called, the hydroponics bay. Those are very, very strong near the early game. And if you can have the chance to build them, I would highly recommend it. So yeah, go ahead and build up your food planets wherever you can. or your star bases. But if you do get them too late, like if you get them at like year 15, and that's when you have enough alloys to start to build those star bases, don't bother, because in literally like 3 years you'll have to convert them into star bases that are meant for building ships. So you don't really get the value of them because you've had them for such a too brief of an amount of time, essentially. So yeah, do keep that in mind. Is like pre year 10, star bases for economy are extremely good. Post year 10, eh, to like it's okay sometimes, but it's generally not the most efficient and uh, not the best anymore. As you can see, also at this point, our consumer goods situation is getting a little bit harder to manage, and this is why I mentioned you did want to build up that civilian industry a little bit earlier, um, because otherwise it'd be like you'd be negative now, and you'd have to be going really, really dip hard into your trade, and it can be a bit of a headache. And yeah, I'm gonna do solar panels instead of trade because well, we need solar panels. We're gonna need energy credits. I don't like dedicating an early planet to trade, or not an early planet to energy. I mean, because you can get energy from trade if you manage to get a trade fed, which means it kind of wastes that planet. And I think this planet here, unfortunately, is a size 23, which is a bit of a shame. Can ultimately be our trade fed. Wait, is that even far enough from my capital? Is this my capital? I don't even know what the capital is called because I didn't name the capital. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, that's not far enough. This planet is far enough. And hopefully, I believe Hylos, like these are like some amoeba or something. I forget what they are. Or is this a real ship? Da, 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 da. I think it's a probe. Yeah, yeah, it's like a probe or something. It's not an actual AI empire. So I might have a chance of actually grabbing that tomb world there. However, unlikely, you know. And welcome back, everybody. It's the next day in real life because I got interrupted. So, anyhow, what we're going to be doing now is we're getting very, very close to our first election because it's almost year 10. You definitely want to be paying attention for this moment if you're doing a playthrough on your own. Because this is a little bit easy to mess up. If you miss it and you're unable to elect a new leader, you're definitely going to have some problems. So the first thing here is we're going to select any events that make the biomorphosis situation faster, and then we need to go ahead and click on this election tab. And essentially, you're going to want to push up any leader that is not your starting leader. So our starting leader is Sharapa here. We need to push any other leader up so that they are not the first. And sometimes this can be pretty expensive in Unity, but you should have a very solid stockpile, and unless you get something extreme, you should almost always be able to push a leader that is not your primary leader to the top. I will say it's relatively important to not fire your starting Minister of State because they will almost always be the second in priority. And if you fired them, you could have like 80 to like 30 favor or something like that. And also be careful for any leader level ups in exactly the election. That used to happen and mess me up a ton is when a leader levels up, right? For example, here we have a leader level up. They can often take over the position of the starting leader, especially if it's a starting leader leveling up again, and then they get more favor. It can be a bit messy, so just be careful about that. We're pretty lucky here since this is the leader we want to win anyway. So their level up actually helps us, but you just gotta be aware. And then this will also allow us to reform our government, which is additionally really, really nice. And here we can also go ahead and expand our council, put in a Minister of Seas, and we can even move our starting leader over to that Minister of Seas position. And then we can go ahead and start on the next agenda. The next agenda we run should probably just be evolving society. I'm not even sure if we'll have time to finish it, but let's go ahead and start it. And another thing we want to do at this point is also reform our government. We want to drop memorialists at this point. It's kind of served its purpose, getting us to the start of the biomorphosis situation. And instead, now we want to move over to something that'll help us either build up quickly, like functional architecture, or will relieve our need for alloy producing jobs via catalytic. I'm not exactly sure which one is better here. I guess we'll go with functional architecture. Additionally, you can also just leave the Memorialists on there until like year 15 or 16. We're going to reform out and go into Memorialists, and go into what's it called? Sorry, architectural interest here, or whatever it's called, just so we can build up our planets a little bit faster and have something a little bit more useful than a Minister of State. Oh no, you know what I was supposed to go? I was supposed to go Merchant Guilds. My apologies. We're gonna have to load a save there. This is what happens when you are playing over multiple days and forget exactly the build order. So yeah, this is why I don't think I played this one in Iron Man. So let's go ahead and go back literally 9 days, and we should be able to fix that government reform. Yeah, we're supposed to go Merchant Guilds. My apologies. Once again, in the build document, I will have the actual correct build order guaranteed. So you don't have to worry about picking the wrong option in your actual playthroughs if you're following along with that. Also, I have been recommended to make my video into chapters. I'm not exactly sure how I want to divide up the chapters yet, and I've never made them before, so I guess I'll look into that. I'm not sure if I'll roll them out for this video or roll them out for every video in general, but I definitely will for the ones I foresee being at least a little bit more popular, because if I rolled them out for every video, it could definitely really slow down something that I think I'm doing mostly for fun at this point. And yeah, working with things that I don't enjoy with is not really my goal of this channel. So yeah, but I do want to be more helpful for people trying to follow these builds, because I understand that these can be relatively difficult to follow, honestly. So yeah, anyhow, let's go ahead and select something like Evolving Society. Alternatively, Departmental Efficiency is quite good here. We will drop quite a bit of unity from this, but with that newfound Merchant Guilds tech, we should be doing quite a bit better in terms of trade, right? We go from negative to positive, and that is just generally a very good thing. Probably what's the next thing we need to do is we need to start building up this world, so this can be a better mineral planet. You do need to build up a lot of minerals so that you can actually build up all your regular planets, right? Even though later on we're going to be running mostly catalytic and that kind of thing. And this is the second situation in the Biomorphosis, so we're going to go ahead and take purity. As I mentioned before, mutation, purity, cloning, in that order. It does suck that you end up picking the, honestly, the best tradition of the three, cloning, last. So yeah, that's kind of sucks a little bit, but it's fine. In the meantime, we can just continue to develop up these planets, and also we're going to need to find a solution for these consumer goods very soon. So on one of your planets, so this is not the right one. Where is our largest ocean planet? Let's see, a size 14, a size 16, this is size 12, this is size 18. So yeah, it looks like our largest ocean planet is this size 16 planet, and our second largest one is size 14. So unfortunately, I did mess this up a little bit. Our largest ocean planet should be a fishing planet. I don't know why I remembered our largest planet to be larger here. Was there a bigger one somewhere else? No, not really. Okay, so this will be, unfortunately, be our fishing planet. It's a little bit unoptimal being only a size 14, which means we're not going to be able to get like 200,000, 300,000 fleet power off this one food planet until late game. Oh, it's a size 23 tropical world that I want to make into a food planet. Oh, right, I'm remembering that now. Now, unfortunately, our scan order is completely wrong. So, yeah, we're going to have to go ahead and build another colony ship and just make sure we get that as soon as we can. Right? Oh, yeah, I need to block this off, which is why I'm colonizing the most important world last. It's okay, even if we get the colony going at, like, year 19 or year 20, which is probably what it's going to be. That's usually more than enough time to get it rolling, as, to be honest, yeah, you don't have the craziest demands for like early game or late game planets or early game planets in this build, because once it gets rolling really quickly. It's just limited by build speed, and you usually have more food than you need around year 30, and then later on by like year 50 or 60 is when you start to lack food compared to how much you need. Yeah, anyway, during this situation, as you can tell, also it can be a little bit boring, as we're just kind of gradually building up our planets. We're generally playing relatively simply like we're just building up Conrith traders. That's really good. As I mentioned, we can go ahead and try to get a commercial pact with these guys. If you want to do this better, you should give them the exact same government ethics as you. I should have done that, to be honest, and that way they'll be even easier to make deals with. But then again, if they're pacifists, they're less likely to be aggressive, so it's very easy to get a non-aggression pact and an independence guarantee. Um, and unity per pop is really good. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're of course going to go onto mercantile, and that will stop us from burning all our influence from our policies there. And what do I want to take here? Probably improve metabolisms, making sure we don't have any issues with that. And yeah, very soon we'll be able to get a commercial pact. It's just a matter of time, basically, at this point, with this many agreements and potentially an improved relations. What planet is this? Direct Prime. Ooh. That is not our original mineral world. Let's see, how much have we developed this mineral world? We've developed this mineral world with 2 mining districts and a mining support already, so we're not going to bother to develop Direct Prime into a better mineral world. It would be a better mineral world for sure. And instead, we can use this for something else, either alloys or research. Definitely solid options. Size 12 here can be used for something like naval capacity for a very fast Ecumenopolis as well. And then size 14 additionally, like every additional planet you get is essentially an extra tech world. So if you have 5 planets, you get 1 tech world. If you have 6 planets, you get potentially 2 tech worlds. If you have 7 planets, that's 3, 8, 9, etc., etc., etc. Only once you probably get to like 4 plus tech worlds, you need a second world to help you produce consumer goods, which will be done with your capital via trade later on in the game, right? And this can be made into a mining designation, and I guess I'll just continue to build the city districts. Just keep the balance between support zones and actual zones to be decent enough, and we can also just go ahead and keep these techs going. So essentially what we're going to do at this point is we're going to go broke buying consumer goods, right? And as soon as we kind of can no longer sustain the consumer good upkeep at all, is when we're going to swap our trade policy from unity to consumer goods. I would say normally you want at least a minimum of 15,000 unity before you swap over, because your unity production is going to get really bad. And if you can't finish 3 tradition perks, you're going to have a lot of problems scaling even after you finish your biomorphosis situation. So you do need to hold out for at least a little bit on the consumer goods. And if it gets really desperate, right, you can just build something like just pick a random planet, build a civilian industry, and it will burn some of your minerals, which is fine since we're producing some minerals, right? And then you can work with that. And let's also send this ship over just to get it ready to colonize as soon as possible. And I think we're going to build that civilian industry as well, because I can tell already that very, very soon we're going to have a lot of problems related to consumer goods if we don't. And also on every planet, remember to prioritize the genomic researchers, as they provide by far the most resources per pop that you can get. And it helps speed up the situation, even if only by a tiny little bit. One of the things I like about playing Biomorphosis, especially between year like 20 and like 30 and like just the early game years in general, is there's so many things to click that you really don't really run out of micro, because there's almost always something you could be doing better. Like I have been forgetting to build up these stations, for example, right? And just between all the different things in the game, there's almost always something you could do to improve one run to the next, which I find to be a generally fun playstyle, right? Like we still need to come out here and scan over here in case we can't form a federation with our neighbor. You could be microwing in a real game. You can send resources back and forth between a friendly player in order to gain more trade. There are so many things you can do to min-max in a bioempire. For example, we're just going to manually wait the trust to go up to 20 before we can form a commercial pact, right? But you can also get a commercial pact through having good enough relations, right? Requires positive relations. So if you trade resources back and forth in a multiplayer game with a player, you can get the attitude up that way, and then form a commercial pact immediately. And you'll also often find that people who play trade a lot of the time, are very familiar with that, and they'll trade you back the resources you trade them if you decide to do that. Um, and that's a generally very positive experience in my opinion, because, well, like, isn't it great to always have the best relations possible? Yeah, I definitely think so. So I think we can form a commercial pact now, so let's go ahead and do that. And now we should notice that since this is a trade empire, first of all, it'll give us a decent bonus in trade. Let's take a look at what we get here. Um, there we go. We go from negative to positive trade. And once we get a branch office from them, which is hopefully soon, because the AI should be able to read now that we have this amazing planet here producing like 500 trade, right? That they should build a branch office, and then that branch office will actually boost our trade up to like an even higher number, like 700, and then we can continuously buy out these consumer goods, which is just really, really good. We won't have to switch over to a different kind of world, which is exactly what we want. So if you have any spare minerals at this point, unlikely, but if you do, you can continuously build city districts on all these planets to keep them developing. Other than that, right, we can just kind of chill and not worry about it and just continue to scale up. And I just realized that this planet is ready to be taken as well, which is exactly kind of the thing I mentioned earlier, right? Which is that there's always something you can be doing better. We don't really want a research agreement. It's just going to eat our influence, and we still need a backup trade federation. I will say one thing that's nice is forming a federation is very easy when you're stronger than your opponent. And we are going to be stronger than our opponent very soon. And there we go. There's the branch office. You can see it's already generating them 250 trade. But our trade is not affected yet until the commercial forum is built. And luckily, the AI is smart enough to almost always build this commercial forum as the first building, meaning we can get the bonuses from it right away. And yeah, we can also get this ship scanning. We might get a lot of like space real estate here, which is nice. In case you ever want to play a save into the late game, it's always nice to have a bit more space in space without having to go attack anyone for said space. Council agenda speed for 5 years is really nice, but so is pop growth speed, right? So tough choice there. Well, we're getting a lot of vents. Let's monitor the situation. Let's go with pop growth speed. You can always use more pop growth speed. And once evolving society is done, we essentially don't want to touch another agenda until the biomorphosis is done, right? And we also get eco stimulation again. And one throw clear later. Let's continue on here. Oh, we got some void worms here. This nice size 23 Savannah world is 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps exactly from a capital. So that's actually within my home sector too. So cool enough. Like, that's actually another planet we could be using as we don't want the dancing plague. That's actually another planet we could have in our home sector that could be used as an additional naval capacity world or an additional food world. Obviously, we can't build an aquaculture district on it yet, but we could terraform it to make that possible, as you can definitely fit a lot of naval capacity on a single planet once it is turned into an ecumenopolis. And our goal is basically to click ecumenopolises on most of our planets by year 30 whilst having a 10 to 20k fleet. I'd say the fleet is very sensitive to year, because starting like 1 year earlier with bioships can be the difference between like 7k and like 20k, because you're not only building more ships, the older ones are also growing up, right? And for an exact year 30 timing, there's definitely going to be some games where you get an amazing year 30 with 20k fleets, and there's going to be other games where we have 7k, right? But in just by year 31, you'll have like 15k, right? So it's not really a huge deal in that sense. And if you have much less planets than this, well, you probably won't be able to scale as hard without giving up something significant like ability to scale up your technology for mid game, right? Like, you might have all default smaller ships, which are, by the way, still very strong. So, like, you'll burn a lot of naval capacity per fleet power, right? And then that definitely won't scale very well. So, anyhow, let's go ahead and colonize this planet. As I mentioned, we'll probably only get it rolling by like year 20, which is perfectly fine. As before, then we don't really need the most food. Ooh, we get Spark of Genius trait here, which is really nice. And thanks to this trade policy with our neighbor here, our commercial pact, we're going to be able to comfortably sustain our economy here. And once this commercial forum is done, take a look at this. We're up to 600 trade. Yes, we've built like one city district, but you guys can tell that you guys can hopefully easily know that one city district worth of trader jobs should not be worth more than 100 trade. Um, so yeah, we're definitely getting some really crazy bonuses from that, which is cool. And we're almost up to 300 Unity per month, which is also very, very nice to see. And that's really nice because, as I mentioned before, any extra Unity you can generate in this phase of the game is a very positive thing for you later on. And we can start to specialize these planets. So, as I mentioned before, we want a physics planet. Um, Size 12 for a Ooh, okay, we have to decide which planet. Okay, this planet should be our alloy planet because it is the only other planet that is not hideously sized, right? And then this planet can be the naval capacity world. This planet can be additional tech, as I mentioned. If you get extra planets, that's extra tech. And then the size 23 over there can be either another tech world or a split between naval capacity and tech. So you were definitely looking really good here because our planet counter is looking quite healthy. So I definitely got to say I'm pretty pleased with that. Take a look at this. By the way, we're buying 74 consumer goods on a non global tech non global trade market, right? Which it just shows the power of having a commercial forum on your capital when they have trading posts and franchising, right? So I'd highly recommend this for your single player runs. It is super, super fun. And now we're going to go ahead and take the cloning tradition to finish things off. And let's see how far we get in this. I like to start on the right hand side and then go down the left hand side tree, right? And we're just going to stay in trade focus until we get environmental integration. And then we'll swap our economy over to consumer goods and start pumping out tech because obviously 240 tech is not going to be enough to get us very far. Also, at this point, we can go ahead and create a new species. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we need to get a source of gases. So let's create a new template and make the gases template. We're simply going to put, say, inorganic breath, and then let's pick a random 3 cost trait to put in. That really doesn't matter what it is, to be honest. Let's, let's not think too much about it. Let's just pick something very strong, sure. Right, and then we're going to go set this as the default and go into our species rights and say integrate into default subspecies, and then we want to let 1 month pass. So essentially what's going to happen here is we don't have the gases tech, right? You can't always be lucky enough to roll the gases tech. So when you do this, now we're going to have a source of gases. So we're actually producing a minuscule amount of gases. It says monthly gain 0.00. Why does it say that? We definitely have at least some of these. But as soon as 1 more month passes, we'll have the ability to buy gases, right? And now, since we have tons of trade, it's relatively cheap to buy a decent amount of gases. Then you can go back to your species template and create a new one. So now we want to create a template that we actually want to use for our species. I kind of want to do something like this, which is just, not nerve stapled, robust and fertile. And yeah, we have 2 trait picks left, and we'll just go ahead and finish that template off. And then we'll set this as the default. And now these species will move into this template. And then all of a sudden we'll have this. Oh, no. That's not really what I want to do. Modify template. We'll get rid of fertile here. And let's put exotic gases trait back on because this is the most important trait, right? It uses exotic gases, but take a look at this: 50-liter lifespan, growth speed 25, habitability 25. It is an insane trait for 1 point. I like robust too because I think it is generally quite solid. And at this point, I guess we'll just take something like fleeting excellence and a 1 point trait that we would like on all of our species. I guess spliced adaptability is pretty good here as well. So let's go ahead and use that. I would honestly say if you have gases and the robust trait, you're basically good. And you should have good enough pop growth speed so you don't really need fertile. So let's go ahead and set this as a default. The first template was definitely not optimal. And as our species assimilates into this template, we should get some crazy bonuses to our efficiency, and we should see that start to skyrocket very, very soon. Um, and yeah, our consumer goods only have to hold on also for a little bit longer, and then we will be good. Because essentially, as soon as we get environmental integration, right, this gives us the bonus habitability from mutagenic habitability from taking the mutation approach, and then we are good. And yeah, we're definitely not doing the best on Unity this run, but sometimes it be like that. Luckily, we're doing good enough on trade to completely sustain ourselves. If you don't have a trade partner here, like your economy is going to be way tougher, right? You're going to be running out of energy simultaneously, right? Because energy is a problem before you have a trade fed, so you might have to dedicate one of your earlier planets, like that you might be dedicating tech into energy instead. So there's definitely a lot of nuance there. And I would recommend an energy planet if you don't have an immediate way to get a trade fed, which is either a planet 5 or more jumps from a capital, like this Tomb World here, or a uh, empire nearby, which is almost certainly going to accept. We're only negative 41, right? When you are superior to them in military, which you will be by year 30. So, yeah. Anyhow, with that in mind, once this happens, we can finally go over to our economic policy. And first of all, we want to go over to, we don't need to go to militarized economy yet, actually, because we have no jobs for that. But we want to go to our trade policy and turn this over to consumer benefits. Also, you can enable any subsidies you have. It doesn't hurt. And take a look at this. We don't need to buy any consumer goods anymore, and instead we can buy enough energy credits to sustain our empire for now and for the future. And we still have tons of trade to spare, which we can use to increase our gas purchase to a pretty hefty amount, so we definitely won't run out of that. And then we can develop our mining planet, so we can finish this off as well. And also have enough trade left over to just continuously buy up mining jobs whenever we need. And yeah, this is fantastic. As we can see, we're also getting solid pop growth on every planet, even if there's not a lot of pops on it now, thanks to being cloning Ascension. And this is going to get even more crazy very soon, right? So we're halfway through departmental efficiency. Unfortunately, we're just going to cancel it right away and take replication initiative. 25% plus pop growth speed, which is nice. And then once we finish it, it's going to be 100%, so doubled pop growth for any amount of time is insane. So yeah, also you might have noticed that taking a look at our basic economy, it is very, very strong, right? Tons of minerals, tons of basically everything we need, right? So what you want to do is immediately on your capital, swap over the archive district to an engineering zone, because we're going to need to focus on engineering heavily very soon. And then on every planet where you don't have an immediate thing to build, just start building clone vats, as you need more pops wherever you can get them. So clone vats it is, right? Clone vat, clone vat, clone vat. Additionally, you can even sell off your consumer goods, which should have a pretty high trade price, just to make sure you can afford those clone vats right away without a wait. As at this point in the game, you want to sell off your resources so that any time you see that there's a single planet you have in your empire that is not actively being built up, just sell, buy minerals, and then build up that planet, right? It's going to be worth it. And oh, we get a pirate fleet exactly blocking us off here. So that's a bit unfortunate, but luckily, we'll just do the sneak around technology. So yeah, go on evasive, and then you can go sneak your ship around. And hopefully that works. I don't even know if that works with pirate fleets. If they aggro onto you too quickly, that's definitely not going to work. Otherwise, we'll just have to wait a few years and just take that out with maulers. Because very, very soon we're going to start to produce every resource we need to quickly militarize, right? So, very, very nice. Extra leader levels is nice. I guess we'll just take blocker clearing tech, right? As our tech is going to start to go up very soon, especially as more of our species assimilate into the efficient species template. We can even, if you want, manually do a template application, right? Because these are usually very, very fast. Like only 4,000 society tech is probably like 8 months or something of society tech, which is not that much these days, right? So yeah, anyhow, let's go ahead and just keep continuously building up all these planets. As you can see, with the excess amount of trade we have, it shouldn't be too hard. And we're even producing a decent amount of unity. just thanks to probably having decently big factions at this point. So definitely very nice to see. And yeah, this is when we're going to start to ramp up our tech very quickly, especially once the engineering zone finishes over here. Build a materials workshop right away, and this will start to cut into our crazy consumer goods excess, but it still should be at this point in the game pretty strong. Also, I don't want soldier jobs on my capital at this time, so we'll go ahead and deprioritize that, right? Once again, if you... Ooh, anger's on. I haven't seen anger on for a long time. Yeah, once again, also, I forget what I was trying to say. I completely forgot what I was trying to say. Anyhow, let's just go ahead and build up clone vats. As you can see, it is definitely, even at this time of the game, still quite expensive to keep every planet building at the same time. However, you can manage it if you are determined enough. I forget what I wanted this planet to be. Okay, if you don't know what a planet should be, still sell off resources to build it up, and just click on city district, because you'll always need more city districts on every kind of planet. And I guess we're probably buying a few too many gases. Let's drop that down to 10 for now, and yeah, sell off the rest of these consumer goods and build this up. And obviously, if you're playing live in a multiplayer game, you don't have to be this careful about maxing everything out, but if you're going for like good timings and stuff, it can be helpful. Also, take a look at these energy credits. Those are not good. It's because I think our energy credit buy did not go through this month. And I'm kind of wondering if we're going to be able to get this Federation in time. Negative 37 is not too bad at all. We just need to roll it at this point. But with 300 tech, it really should not take that long to roll, if I'm being completely honest. Let's also queue up a medical center here. And yeah, as our minerals is going up in live time, you can literally watch the number going up at this point as well. We should be starting to do better and better on that department. And let's also get a colony ship through this system here. Just sneak that through. And yeah, we can start moving towards the Savannah world, which can be just an excellent world for us to have fun on with whatever extra resources we need. As I'd say 2 tech worlds is really all that you ever really need. So I guess on the second tech world, we can try to ramp up our physics a bit. As with just 1 physics planet, we're going to be a little bit lacking. And then later on, we're going to actually need to dedicate one of the planets away from physics and towards society at some point, because at some point, the genomic researchers will become the smallest source of tech we have once these planets are built up enough. And we're still a whiles away from that happening, so don't have to worry about that yet. But I just wanted to mention that that will eventually happen. So let's go ahead and turn this into yet another physics zone, right? Our engineering is okay with just our capital right now, and we'll split one of these tech worlds between physics. And I called engineering tech because I just, like, engineering used to be by far the most important tech, so I just defaulted to calling just all tech engineering, which is funny. And excuse me there, I just had to clear my throat again. Yeah, getting a bit of a morning voice right now. Yeah, does that happen to any of you guys, by the way? Like, when you talk in the morning, you just sound groggy for no reason. Like, it's probably a pretty universal people thing. But anyhow, yeah, at this point, yeah, 200 minerals, that's usually about the amount you need to keep up with other plants. Probably a little more, maybe like 300. And then as you scale up in minerals just a little bit more after this, you'll start to find that you have so many minerals that they just start building up. But don't worry, that is a good thing. That is what we want. As once those minerals start building up, that's a sign that we're finally starting to genuinely scale into the late game. So, yeah, this size 18 is a decent alloy world. Funnily enough, if you pick an alloy world that's too big, it actually slows you down in the mid to long run, as what ends up happening is you can't build up an Ecumenopolis fast enough, right? Because you have to fill the entire... If you have like a size 24 planet as your main alloy world, you're going to be like year 55 to year 60 Ecumenopolis, which is quite late. Or if you get something like a size 18, you can probably get that Ecumenopolis by like year 40, maybe. Like it depends on like luck for tech rolls and that kind of thing. But it's definitely possible. So we're going to go ahead and try to do that. Also, let's continuously build up these tech worlds. Right, it looks like all these plants are still lacking a little bit of pop growth right now. We can definitely stick a couple clone vats on our capital to help us with this. And you only get 1 clone vat on each planet until you finish the cloning situation completely. But you start to get most of the benefits of cloning before finishing the entire tradition, which is also a really nice thing, right? Otherwise, it would definitely be a lot weaker as we'd need to push out a larger amount of Unity before we start to get any benefits from it. Um, and also, given the amount of planets we have on this run, it should be pretty fun. Also, I should probably connect these sectors, right? I definitely want this in my home sector, so I'm going to have to build up these two systems. Let's just build a science ship and a construction ship in our home sector. Also fill out these mining bases as they cost food, right? So seems like that would be a pretty good choice here. Can you build an aquaculture on a tropical world? If not, we're definitely going to have a mediocre. I think you can. We're definitely, if we can't, we're definitely gonna have a bit of a mediocre world for a while there. And as you can see, we're really struggling with energy. But don't worry, there is a solution to that. If you lack energy and don't have an energy world, or are not planning to have an energy world like me, and that is the bioreactor. Of course, we need to roll the bioreactor, so um, we're a little bit away from that. But the bioreactors are relatively cheap tech, so it's usually not the most difficult thing in the world to roll. And the roll weight is surprisingly high as well. So, yeah, definitely not much to worry about there. You know what we can do is on your naval cap planet, you could just go build ahead and build a couple energy districts just to kind of keep up with basic demands there. And oh yeah, we're also finished our cloning now. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to leave this pick blank, and if we're incredibly lucky and manage to roll a Cumulonimbus tech, which is anti-gravity engineering, in like the next few years, we're going to go ahead and try to rush the Cumulonimbus extremely early. And if we're not lucky enough for that, then only in that circumstance, we're going to look towards taking Galactic Force Projection just for that year 30 extreme power spike. As you can see, our naval cap is really lacking right now. All that could be fixed with the trade fed, right? So yeah, negative 37 acceptance is also definitely doable because we just have to change our war philosophy for like a plus 30, and then we're like 10 off, right? And I guess we're already neighbors, so we can't get distance based ones, but we can get power based ones. Like, right, if we have our empire stronger than theirs, they could definitely be more likely to accept. And yeah, let's just build a couple generator districts to keep that planet afloat, and we can also start to tear down the aquacultures on our homeworld for more city districts, as that could definitely be a great idea there. And yeah, we get tier 1 weather control, right? So we might actually get tier 2 weather control here. So that is nice. And just yeah, take a look at the number of planets. If you are an organized person, you can give these names. Like we could call this the Forge World. We could call this the Generator slash Bastion. Oh, that's not a slash. Excuse my typing skills. Not very good. This can be a tech world. So tech. Oh, double capital, of course. Tech and mining over here. One other tip I would give is if you want to truly max, leave the name of the system in the planet. Call this good old Niaz, I think. That's our capital, right? We usually call our capital Niaz, so might as well leave it there. And we can call this Tech 2. And then food, right? Yeah, food. I still don't really know what to do with that size 23 Savannah besides colonize it as soon as we can. Where did silly construction ship? Why did you? Oh my god! Like why did it wander into the hostile? Oh yeah, this is great. This is safe. Let me go over here. Ooh, Navy instructor. That's nice. Extra naval capacity. Extra 30. Always nice to see. And now we can finally take departmental efficiency and start to work on those. And yep, that's very nice. Continue to build city districts. Continue to build districts in general. And aquaculture, we still need more minerals, but yeah, we're like, what, 400 trade now, plus 400. We are doing plenty fine on trade. And yeah, all these planets are starting to look really, really good. Our minerals are going to sort themselves out really quickly at this point. And here at year 22, we can really start to see the power of a build like this as those pops are growing everywhere. Let's take a look at the pop growth speed. 23 with a single clone vat, and don't forget, we can build second clone vats and third clone vats on the planets that we need extra pops on. Usually you don't even have time to build clone vats on all your planets, or at least as many clone vats as you can build. This is also when I would personally switch to a government policy of militarized. Um, and we can also turn on extra subsidies at the cost of some unity. We can turn off veneration of saints. I don't think we have any saints in our empire anymore. We can even turn on something like education campaign. And this is also when we're going to want to build a star base around year 23 on every single planet and start to get ready for the fact that maulers are extremely, not extremely, but not quick to build on limited starbase counts. So we're going to want a large number of star bases for our year 30 militarization if we are playing for that. So let's go ahead and start working on that as well. As you can see, we're just burning an insane amount of trade buying energy credits. But to be honest, you're going to have to buy something with your trade. And whatever you buy with your trade, it'll always be at a bad price because that's just kind of the way trade is. The more of one thing you buy, the more expensive it gets until you get to the ultra late game and you can spam like there's like a galactic commerce something hub. What does it exactly do? Like a galactic stock exchange, and it lowers the market fee by 5% per one, and yes, you can stack them. So yeah, until you get access to that, we don't really have the best way to get a good value out of our trade, other than the fact that it's producing consumer goods very efficiently, in the sense that 2,500 jobs are overcapping the amount of consumer goods we're getting, and also sustaining whatever dumb basic resources, rare resources and stuff that we don't normally get access to, and they're just a ridiculously efficient job. Like how much trade are we getting on this planet? 1,400 trade from 2,500 workers. So I don't know how much each one is giving us. You guys can do the math, but it's definitely pretty good. And it's probably higher pop efficiency than you'd normally get from most world types or job types for a Ascension empire. Like that's like psionic type efficiency. I wonder what like psionic traders would do with this many modifiers added to them. But then you have the pop growth issues, so you have to play robots, and I've definitely played a lot of robots recently, so don't need to do any more of that in my opinion. And is this an aquaculture? Are we getting angler jobs, or are these? Yeah, these are anglers. Nice. Okay. If they weren't anglers, that would be really sad, as that would mean they're way less efficient than they could be. We're definitely not looking too good on food. It looks like our food planet did come online a little bit too late. So what we're going to do about that is we're going to put an Ascension tier on the agri world, and that will speed up the build speed by just a little bit, which can really help us catch up to where we should be. The other thing we're going to do, and this feels a little bit counterintuitive, is we're going to start deleting a lot of our star-based buildings, especially that are not very useful, for resource silos, as we need resource silos, right? So, and then the other thing we're going to do is shipyards. We're going to replace the we want at least like 6 to 10 shipyards for year 30, if not more. Otherwise, we won't be able to build ships fast enough. And then we're also going to try to upgrade these to star bases in time, which we should be able to be honest. We don't need anchorages here. Let's just build more shipyards, resource silos, and we can turn on fortify the border. Yes, it cuts into our unity a little bit, but like take a look at our unity right now. We're at 319 without a trade fed, right? So that's going to get a lot faster as we get into the game, and we won't have to worry about that too much. As you can see, our engineering research is also catching up to our physics is catching up to our engineering at this point. So what we're going to want to do is convert one of the other trade planets we have into having an engineering zone. And if you can't do that, well, you just have to cope with your capital. But once again, we're pretty lucky and we have a lot of planets. And this is also why I really like to kind of cheese it and play on 1.25x planets, as it makes it way more likely you get a spawn that kind of feels like this, where you can just go into ultra creative mode a little bit earlier. And in my example video, I did not have this extra planet. I only had 6. So we can see that even with a slightly lower planet count, like what do we have here? We have 7. Yeah, it feels so different, to be honest. Actually, we have 8, right? Because we have this planet all the way out here that is going to take a long time to take, because I'm too lazy to manually path this ship through this system, apparently, and that's caused me some inconveniences. Let's go ahead and finally build those 2 up. I mean, we barely have enough influence for it in the first place, so not a huge deal. Also, we can adopt supremacy at this point, because why not? Doesn't look like we're going to be lucking into an early, um, what am I trying to say? An early arcology project either. So, yeah, it will probably be like a year 32 or 33, which is still good. But if we're not lucky, it could be even later than that. So, yeah, definitely some things to look forward to, and some things that are just a little bit unfortunate. And yeah, this mineral planet is also getting ridiculously efficient, to be honest. So that's nice to see. Um, this tech planet still needs an administrative district. Let me just make sure I have all the designations set correctly because the game really hates auto designating correctly. So let's go ahead and make sure we do all of that manually ourselves. And there we go. Nice. This can be upgraded too. You definitely want to upgrade the gene clinics whenever you can. They're just such good buildings. And yeah, the trade fed would go crazy right now. Um, we also need an industrialist, right? So I don't know who's our current industrialist, our leader here. So let's just pick a random one, and you're an industrial nest now. Um, yeah, not the best thing. I probably should have. I think my current actual empire leader is the best industrialist leader we have as an option, but we can't appoint them, right? So it is how it is. We need to start building ships very soon as well. So that means we're going to want to start getting our food production up here. But oh yeah, we need Elder Mauler. Elder Mauler is the final one, right? Yes, Mature Mauler and Elder Mauler. So once we get that, we can start building ships. I have never managed to miss Elder Mauler for year 30 yet. It is probably possible though, so do keep your eye out for that as well. That could be pretty rough if you end up having to miss that. And I guess anything after this could indeed just be a naval logistics office because I'm pretty sure we have a ton of of those as well. And oh yeah, we used all our alloys for star bases. That's fine, right? That's fine. There's going to be more alloys where those came from. Our forge world is growing as we speak, and we still don't even have catalytic, right? So you've definitely not been very lucky on the society techs. Missed a couple important ones, missed feds, and that is with 500 society tech as of right now. So definitely could be much better. And come on, come on, come on. Let's see what we get as our next tech. Oh, we miss again. So yeah, I guess we'll just take ground defense planning. And also, let's go ahead and design our Mauler fleet at this point. So what do you want to do when you design your Mauler fleet is, I like a very basic design. It's just mandibles and pickets, or whatever, whichever these ones are. These flak, are these pickets? I don't even remember. And then I just auto-complete the rest of the ships. And if I have afterburners, I would use those. I don't have them, so we'll just use a mix of whatever we have. And then essentially all you have to do is make sure that the ship role is on juvenile, and then you have this tier 2 growth gland. Otherwise it won't show up. If you have it on any other thing, it'll show up as something else, and the ship might build without the growth gland, which is definitely not something we want. And later on we can upgrade this to other types of weaponry, but at tier 1 I think the point defense is the best. And the main star of the show is the combat mandibles. They are ridiculously strong when they get into close range, which is why you want something like a swarm computer. So let's go ahead and put that on, and then go to the fleet management, and let's just go ahead and queue up the juvenile maulers. And yeah, as you can see, we're limited by food and alloys right now, but that will get much better as we get on. And let's go ahead and start building planetary defenses here as well, and just get all of these things rolling simultaneously, which should be really nice. Yeah, we should go over 1k tech very soon as well. And ooh, these are some good options here. I think we'll take exotic gas plants before it becomes difficult to find them. Research supply depots are also very nice. I forget, I think they use gases, right? So that goes along well with our gases, I guess, and we can just continuously build up these planets. And any planet where you're really lacking build speed, like our alloy world, like our food world, you can give them an Ascension tier, and it will speed up the building speed a little bit. We get psionic theory of all things, so we might as well take that, to be honest. And yeah, at this point, I guess we'll just buy another 100 energy credits per month as we keep waiting for this Federation tech, right? Oh, they formed a Federation themselves, right? And see, this is why. This is why it's super annoying to rely on AIs for Federations, because a lot of things like this can happen. And instead, we're going to form our own federation over here on this tomb world, I guess. So let's just pre-build a colony ship here, just in case we end up needing it, and quickly start settling in that direction. It hasn't been on the top thing on my priority list, by the way, for these leader upgrades. You get some really good options. Investors is great for 10% trade, but the even better one is architectural interest, um, or whichever one speeds up planetary build speed, as that is going to be our main bottleneck. And not having a single planetary build speed bonus is a bit of a shame. So, do I have enough influence for that? I don't think I have enough influence for this yet, but as soon as we do, we're going to be flying out there and taking that system. And it's pretty lucky to have a single system this far out that we can actually colonize, to be honest. Um, as on a tiny world, this is often you often have to like get to some pretty extreme lengths to find something like that. Also, where is our actual Mauler fleet forming? Okay, there it is. Because we can use that to kill the annoying pirate fleet that's blocking us off, right? I hate dealing with the pirate fleets. Ooh, do we want moat traps or the upgraded point defense? Let's go ahead and get that. I really wish that the Mauler component names just use whatever names they have in in regular Stellaris, because I always forget which component corresponds to what, especially since I like to play with alloy ships like 80% of the time, if not higher. Biomorphosis is the only time I like to play bioships normally, as um, even though they're stronger, I don't like them, basically. Or they're stronger at least in the early game. I have really no idea what's better in the late game. Um, I got the thing with single player late game these days, right? Is as a human player, you end up so much stronger than any AI player that you really don't have a lot of issues defeating the AI late game with any ship designs, let alone meta ones, right? So yeah, let's also just keep reinforcing this whenever we can. We can even assign them a little leader here and there. Not our best leader, right? Because we don't want to accidentally fly them into something and lose our best leader, but yeah, very nice that I didn't forget to put a Minister of Defense in too, so I get an actually appreciable amount of naval capacity. And yeah, I really, really wish that we could get um, that Fed tech too. At least we got the next what's it called, civic slot, because sometimes if you don't get that in time, that can also be a bit of a pain. But honestly, if you have this much society tech and can't get it, you're just having a really unlucky game. And you can also go ahead and take tech ascendancy if you really wanted to, and kind of force your way through different techs. But we don't really have the space for tech ascendancy. You can trade out one vision for tech ascendancy, but slowing down your ascension by 10% can, it's not really 10, it's like 5%, can hit harder than you'd expect sometimes. So I guess we'll stick away from that for now. Let's honestly build an exotic gas plant and a crystal plant here. It'll slow down our alloy production quite a bit, but our alloy production is fine for now, and we can honestly burn ridiculous amounts of trade to turn them into alloys in order to queue up ships, right? As we at 1.5k at year 28 is really nothing, right? Although we're investing a lot into the star bases. And this will start to accelerate extremely quickly as these planets get going, so I wouldn't be too worried about it at all. Yeah, this mining world, even still having headway to grow, is very, very nice. And we could even turn on something like fleet supremacy, right, just to get that going quickly. Nothing of value here, to be honest. We can, like, I don't really want to unlock the kinetic techs because it could be a big headache to filter them out and ignore them, especially with only 3 tech rolls. But yeah, we're still lacking influence, right? So influence, didn't realize it'd be such an annoying issue. Let's go ahead and colonize this, by the way. Just go ahead and colonize that. I don't know which ship I sent over. It's this one. Okay. We'll manually sneak this other one through. Passive, boop, 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 sneak it through, and get it to camp over this planet. I probably should have done that earlier, otherwise we might be a bit late. And we get research logic, yay, +1 research slots. And yeah, I guess with the amount of tech we have, definitely could be better, right? And I guess we could probably start building these research facilities, right? And let's just go ahead and build that, queue that up, and queue one up on our capital as well, and queue one up on Tech 2 over here. Although we're going to need some more gases, and yeah, this is isn't this great playing a trade empire where, oh, I need a resource, let me just buy them at an exorbitant price, but hey, we can afford it because the trade is just exorbitantly efficient, and we can take military build up too. We finally get architectural sense, yay! Settler, naturalist, we literally don't need either of these. I'll just take I don't know if that's the correct. Ooh, sublight speed or navy instructor. Both are amazing. We're gonna take navy instructor because you won't struggle with speed against AIs. AIs do not build fast enough ships, so yeah. Instead, we're gonna go ahead and do that. And let's continue settling forward. And also, this is an interesting decision point here. You can go catalytic processing or you can go functional architecture, and I think I'm going to go functional architecture here because I have so little bonuses to my build speed, and we're not going to focus as hard on alloys as in my other run, because in that one I was, in all honesty, just trying to make an impressive looking fleet number for a thumbnail, right? And in this one we can focus on the slightly more practical aspect of building up strong fleets whilst scaling probably equally as hard, if not harder. So let's go ahead and do that here. Yeah, as you can see, we're even building up some civilians on the planets, which is really nice to see. It means our economy is going well. And we can even step up this energy credit buy to 320. That's going to cut most of our trade off, unfortunately. But we just need to keep this alive for not too much longer until we're able to take this system. And we need to know how to research, that's fine. I hate the negative traits you get from the cloning regency or whatever, but it's better than losing your entire leader, right? So there's that. Also, I've fallen out of love with the building that gives you access to more districts. Instead, I'm a big fan of the surface core depot now, and then just having more support districts makes the math a little bit better. We're making 450 consumer goods at this point. Yeah, I had a trade fed going at this point, so we can definitely start demolishing some of these buildings. Is there a way I can go in like extra utopian abundance? Like, is there a way I can convert consumer goods? Yes, you can go state academies, but they're banned in like 99%, not 99%, in more multiplayer lobbies than Overtuned is banned. And yeah, at this point, I'm also really not sure. Like, what rules do I want to be playing by when making videos for PvP? Because there's infinitely broken stuff. There's extremely broken stuff like Knights of the Toxic God or State Academy's Clone Army, right? Like, what is the limit of build that is not too broken? Because Overtuned is restricted in a lot of lobbies where you can't take cloning as your third Ascension perk, you need it as your fourth. And then how do you play that, right? Well, the answer is you just rush trade for longer. So it's like which one do you play for, right? And then like the year 30 is really tough with a fourth Ascension perk cloning. And you definitely won't be scaling as hard because you will have had to have focused so much of your early game economy into Unity. Also, we only have 3k fleet here. It's because I forgot to queue up more ships, so let's go ahead and queue up more ships. That's a bit embarrassing there. Let's go ahead and remedy that a bit, because 3k ships is not what you want to see at year 30. I definitely should have been queuing those up. I could be selling consumer goods and just buying like token amounts but non-zero amounts of alloys. This alloy world is also going to be scaling much slower than it normally would be given the circumstances here. So one thing I can do is upgrade this Mechanics Institute as well. Get that bit of extra engineering tech out. Just continue to upgrade all these worlds simultaneously. And yeah, we should be doing very well. And to be honest, we still are in terms of basic economy, just kind of lacking in alloys with a single alloy planet. And we finally do find Form Federation tech, which means we're not too late on this planet here. We're not too late in influence either. We're only 12 influence late. So not too bad at all. 186 nav cap. Once again, I'm holding out for that arcology project, right? The arcology project role would be super helpful. With no trade fed, we're going to take forever to get another Ascension perk after this. Although I guess we're going to be getting a trade fed in hopefully just a little bit of time. These stupid guys. I guess, can I ask to join their federation? No, I don't want to ask for associations. I want to ask to join the federation. And, oh, it's only negative 13. Can I see the reason why? Ask to join Federation. Ah, okay. So honestly, we can just do this. This is probably better. Um, War philosophy, defensive wars. Obviously, this is really annoying for actual gameplay, as you usually want to have it enabled. But if you just want to infinity scaled, this is a good way to do it. And they must have formed a trade fed, right? Like Stellar, yeah, trade league. Okay, ask to join Federation, and they should accept now. And then we can go ahead and be a part of a nice trade league, which is really nice. At least if they say yes, which Bekbaki and Shipping Alliance, where are you? I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm so mad. Okay, that's super annoying. Okay, they don't want to be part of your trade league. Well, they can get vassalized in a few in not too long, I guess. Not too long. So let's go ahead and colonize this planet here. Let's go ahead and just continue to take supremacy perks. And I guess we'll take that for now. Angler efficiency, a little bit of angler efficiency never hurt nobody. And yeah, just keep these planets rolling up, you know? Keep them rolling. Oh, man, that is so annoying they didn't invite me to the Fed. And yeah, as you can see, like 1 year later, we're 8K, right? So it's not terrible, 9K. Um, Still increasing very nicely. Chemical baths. Okay, we'll take that. What was I doing? You're right, I was trying to make a Fed with somebody, but these guys said no. Why would they say no? Is it because I have no fleets? Is it because I don't have enough fleets? Okay, as you can see, our energy situation is becoming unsustainable. One thing we can do is turn this into an energy generation district, I guess. Not really the thing we want to do, but we might need to do that just to hold on to our economy for a bit. Also, one thing that you should do is always have armies. Armies are extremely underrated, they're extremely important, and when you're playing with this much food, they're very free. They do cost energy, but energy will hopefully be extremely free extremely soon. And if not, we're probably doing something wrong. So anyhow, let's go ahead and just continue to build up these districts. Do I have the energy enabled on my capital? Yes, I do. Did I ever research autochthon monuments? Nope, of course I didn't. We can go ahead and sell some of these consumer goods as well because they're incredibly excessive right now. And oh yeah, we also get this nice planet here, which we can we can use for nice purposes. I don't know what to do with this planet yet. Probably another tech world, if I'm being honest, and just go hella crazy in the tech. The better play would be alloy world if you're going for a military rush, undoubtedly. But we don't need that much military to be stronger than the AIs. Um, and I'm not gonna try to make like the hundreds of thousands I did in my actual video or in the test play run because even though that was fun, it slowed down my scaling quite a bit for, I would say, not a huge reason. And yeah, this planet has so few worlds, we're going to need to build the crop development hub so that we can put more districts on it. Otherwise, we're just going to be too short on districts to make that really efficient in any way. How close is this to being done? We're going to need some time, looks like. Definitely looks like it needs some time. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Wow, like we're really building up a lot of civilians everywhere. So yeah, this is why I had to take architectural interest, in my opinion, as well. Like obviously, I didn't have to do it, but do we not have energy subsidies? That is so funny that I've been min maxing hard enough to not have energy subsidies. I like that actually, but I never hit the bioreactor. So maybe do you need energy subsidies to hit bioreactor? Is that what's going on? And what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna build fleets, but we're not gonna go over our naval cap, as it's just so expensive to do so. I mean, you totally can if you need the power, but we're already friendly with our neighbors and stronger than them. Yes, it says equivalent, but I guarantee you, in an equal fight against any AI fleet, you'll almost always win. And we do get habitation moddable. Year 34 and a bit is not the worst thing in the world. It's not good, but it also happens to coincide almost exactly with 20k minerals. So I guess that's nice. And wow, our energy situation is not looking fantastic. Not looking fantastic. Tune Ort, let's go ahead and try to build this as soon as we can as well. Oh, we're already building it. Nice. 3 motes from space, you know, you can't take it for granted. I really want to find a rare resource deposit on a star so I can one day build a Dyson swarm that produces the like a rare resource. I've seen it before. I'm not sure if it's still possible in the Big 25, but it was definitely possible at one point, which I think is really really funny. So I'd love to see it again. I think it was Least Fire who had no, it was Least Fire who saw somebody who had that. And I was like, yo, how do you do that? And I don't think the guy even knew how they did that. It might have been a anomaly or something. I still don't know to this day, right? Like, anyways, don't need to know. We can just have fun and just keep scaling up. We don't roll a single time of alloy efficiency either, so that's a little unfortunate if I do say so myself. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play this build up to year 50, and at that point we will probably have infinity scaled as long as we get this trade federation up. This trade federation took way longer than it should have because of the false hope I had with these guys. Screw them. Um, can I ask to join federation again? You cannot ask again for 10 years? Wow. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Alright, so it's up to this planet then to save us from that, and I think it's finally time we can go fast again as well. I'm sure everyone who plays in fast is probably left the video by now or is yawning. In just like pure boredom in the fact that like you can play so much faster than what I'm playing. I'm sorry for that, by the way. Like I'm A, just not that used to it, and B, I find it relatively difficult to maintain composure talking whilst playing the game and making sure something like this doesn't happen, right? Where I accidentally go negative on energy credits, I'm overcapped on consumer goods at the same time, and just burning resources for no reason, even if it's just a little bit. And yeah, Tomb Worlds take so long to colonize, and they have a super flare warning. I wonder if there's gonna be a super flare, and then that super flare like wipes them out or something, and then I can't form federation with them, where the federation I will have ends. Demolish the old factory. The old factory is never up to any good. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Let's go society research zone. Funnily enough, yeah, as you can see, our other techs are catching up to our society, and we'll continue to catch up and even overtake at some point. So we'll get on top of that now. And yeah, the Tomb Worlds, man. 110% habitability still takes so long to colonize. Maybe it's just so long because the economy is so dire right now. It feels bad, even though it isn't. And yeah, these gases too, man. Like buying like 35 of them is so ridiculous. What can we do here? Sell some more of those. Sell some more of those. And also, why not just build another fleet of these guys? Juvenile Maulers, yes, perfect. Couple more districts. And perfect, it's finally done. Okay, create a new sector immediately. Planets and sectors. And you want to edit sector, turn off auto expand, and then remove all the possible systems from it. And that will make sure you have a one system sector like this. Then you go ahead and go into your planets and sectors again, and then create a vassal. Just create a random name, select any species you want to be their main species, and then you can go ahead and release subject, establish an embassy, improve relations. We're just gonna like click everything we can just to build up everything we can as fast as we can. And then form federation requires excellent relations or trust, so we can speed this up as well. Offer trade deal, resources, consumer goods. Yeah, like 6,000 consumer goods to us is literally like tossing pennies into a well. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's also clear some of these blockers. Very expensive blocker clear. And then form federation, trade league, and yeah, basically instantly this is gonna explode our economy. So take a look at this. Boom, form federation, and the energy credit problem shall be no more. We can stop selling those, and we can just buy even more gases, even more crystals, and probably start buying moats soon as well. Yeah, 600 trade, and everything is vastly positive, and that will allow us to build up all city districts. We can replace these as well. And yeah, at this point, our entire economy should be flying. Our ecology project should be done, right? So we can go ahead and take our ecology project. And then I'm a bit embarrassed to have not built up my capital entirely yet, so we need to replace 2 districts here. But yeah, very soon we can start. I can't believe I clicked up at 30, at I think 31 or 32 on one of my other worlds. I think it's possible, right? It's just I didn't time it very well here. I must have I was just a little bit slower in general compared to my test run. I'm not exactly sure what I did differently. I think getting this trade fed later definitely hurt a lot because I got my trade fed like year 20, um, or maybe like 25 in the test world. So that definitely made a big difference. I would say it definitely felt a lot different to play. And oh, is this going to be our first EQ? Uncleared blockers less than one. Oh no, I have two blockers where I don't have the tech for it. That's a bit brutal. Let me see if they're options or no, they're not options. So let's just pick a cheap tech, go through that, and we should also assign a leader to our trade fed. I do believe the last stage actually gives us decent bonuses. Like these aren't crazy bonuses, but they can help a little bit. Yeah, there's quite a few. There's like a 5% trade on basically every tier. So yeah, we do want to assign a leader to that to tier up the trade fed. Um, I generally find that those bonuses are so irrelevant compared to having the trade fed at all, because having a trade fed at all is already such a strong mechanic that you really don't need the extra bonuses from a lot of the time. Anyhow, we're going to take those, of course, because we can, and just build up this empire to be as overpowered as possible. Xenobiological lab, let's just build all the lab buildings and a city district, just get all of these going at once. And yeah, we are definitely looking good. Once again, if you want more alloys, you can change out a tech world for alloys, no problem. Right, Maulers without any tech upgrades are fantastic and will still run over every single AI you run into, basically. They are just that powerful. Um, Although do remember to upgrade the speed wherever you can, as speed is definitely one of the most helpful stats, and you can go down to 2 or even 1 shields if you don't have enough power, which can definitely be a bit of a problem on Maulers. So yeah, just keep that in mind as well. And we'll just upgrade these, and also um, buy some of those. And yeah, I guess buying the amount of rare resources we are right now is still putting a bit of a drain to our energy credits or to our trade credits, but don't need to worry about that. They will be doing just fine. And now let's finally go into fast and yeah, just get all the planets rolling as much as we can. And yeah, we're even waiting on blockers for some of these, right? So there's one blocker technology. No blocker technologies here. Yeah, I guess we'll just take cheap techs and look out for blocker technologies. That's kind of the play here now. And on every other planet, just build it up on cooldown, basically. On cooldown. Oh, another tech world here is available. Is there? Yeah, this we can clear the blockers. That's no problem. Homeworld. I believe there's like 2 or 3 more city districts, and then we should be good on that department as well. Alloy nano plants is huge. We finally get access to that. It's been a while. It's one of the reasons why our alloys are so pathetic. Even with 2.2 thousand is not the most alloy production workers, but do keep in mind that when your bioships, your effective alloys is at least double what you have, because food is the other resource that your ships need, right? So yeah, like still 20 something K fleet is nothing to be ashamed of at this point in the game. Although, where is our Bastion world? Why is it feeling so weak? It's because it's a size 12 and it's not as developed as the other planets. And this is also why I built so many. I'm always worried about this, but like, what planet is this? Let's see. Is this a. Yeah, see, that's a planet we want an EQ on pretty soon. So there are better uses for this land, unfortunately. And this does kind of suck. But we do have other dig sites in our area, so we don't have to be too worried about that. And we should honestly start those. As did I click the right thing? No, excavate site. Because you do want to have dig sites wherever you can. And let's also take galactic force projection now, as we can totally do that. Fleet management, go back in here and just add only juvenile maulers. Make sure you deprioritize all other kinds of maulers whenever you add to an existing fleet. And that way, when you build, it'll be all juvenile maulers instead of a bunch of mature maulers that you'll be severely overpaying for. Gene warrior armies here are fine. Any blockers to clear? No. And one more city district in our capital, and then EQ. Year 37 EQ. Not the best in the world. I've definitely done better in the past. I should have done better, but I'm sure if you guys have been paying attention to this video, this planet has been sitting unbuilding at certain times that could have been optimized. Star Fortress, Arc Furnace. A lot of good options there. We don't really need arc furnaces. Why'd I click Reorganize Council? That's annoying. Now I have to redo this. Pearl Diver. Planetary, you know what, let's put a high level leader on the planetary architect, and we don't even need as high of a level leader on our minister of trade, as we should have enough trade anyway. It will hurt our economy a bit. Like, we're actually negative on consumer goods now for the first time, but as this planet inevitably works towards becoming an ooh, look at that, 175 habitability too. Amazing. What do I have on my other planets? Like 160? Nice. So they'll get up to max at some point as well, which is nice to see. Um, it used to be 200, so it was nerfed. Ascension, yes, it used to be even more broken than what you're seeing now. There was a bunch of nerfs. Genetic purity, which is the absolute value of the number of traits you have, was nerfed for purity, which I think made cloning the better Ascension, to be honest. I could not tell you for sure which is better right now, but I think purity is definitely better if you want to play into the long run. Like if you want to play any ultra late save, I would still go with a purity build. Um, and if you're just playing more casually, like I am here, I think I would then go with um, yeah. If you're playing something more casual like this, then I would go purity because it scales so much better. And only in like a real multiplayer game, or a game where you're trying to simulate a real multiplayer game, would you want to go with something like cloning, which is just it gets going so much faster thanks to the pop growth. It kind of comes online before other builds are able to. And yeah, like take a look at this. Like even though we're at year 38, we have no edicts on. We're still at 30k fleet, which is nothing to like scoff at. It's not amazing, right? There'll be people with 60, 70k fleets at this point, but I mean, if we were pushing all our planets into tech or into alloys, we would also have that. Like if we took catalytic and that kind of thing. Um, and where is those galactic parasites? Void worms, we'll send one of the fleets over to deal with that. And we can finally kill the pirate fleet, which has been sitting there for years unanswered because I am lazy. Also, we can finally take prosperity right now, right? Because this gives another 25% planetary build speed. And that could help us start to get the EQs started on all these planets where it is not already started. So, also, any luck on those blocker clearing techs? Nope. We'll just keep looking for them. This agri world can continue to be developed here as well. Like, take a look at this, by the way. Look at the ridiculous amount of food we're making. I believe we're basically out of alloys and still have a ton of food, right? That's the catalytic wave, I guess. And also, here's another thing about maulers. They're so fast. Like, these are some terrible tech maulers. They have 303 speed. I've seen people get their maulers into the high 600s for speed, and I'm sure you could go even faster than that with, like, counselor maxing and that kind of thing, which is genuinely hilarious, right? Like, they fly directly into melee range of, like, battleships and just instantly evaporate, like, much larger battleship fleets than themselves, which is it's just crazy. Yeah. Yeah, those mandibles are some of the best weapons ever released in Stellaris, and I think the only thing that can really compete with them is probably disruptors, except disruptors are banned, and I imagine disruptors with the mandibles would be really, really, really insane, right? Let's take a look at them. Fleet management, ship designer, because these have 100% shield 50 and 50 plus 50% armor damage, right? So they basically like chew through your fucking armor in no time at all, and then hit your hull with 25% bonus and kill you instantly. Disruptors would directly lower that hull, so as soon as you get through the shield, yeah, I think these would go crazy with disruptors as well, especially since all these have low range and want to be like in close, right? So like close range combat, yeah, absolutely insane. Let's send these back to the capital now, and they didn't even take care of the pirate fleet on the way. So let's take care of that now. And should we research blue lasers? Probably. Probably time. Start upgrading that technology a little bit. Integrated cybernetics for the habitability. And great. Oh yeah, we're looking good on these buildings. We're actually starting to run out of building slots on some of these other planets as well. Oh, even this planet. What are we taking here? Engineering? Let's take a look. Honestly, we could use everything. So let's just use Research Enclave. Let's not think about that too hard. Spam a bunch of city districts, set this to attack world, and take a look at this. Research Enclave, 100 days. Research Camp is 180 days, right? This is why I think it's so good to have build speed. Oh, is this our second EQ? Management, surface, surface. I hate how they moved this button so many times. So, yeah, okay, yeah, it looks like we're getting more than one EQ up now, which is really, really nice. We're also playing on fast, so of course, everything feels faster, even though it's not. Finally, one of the blocker techs we needed as well. So that's nice. This arcology is already coming on well. We still don't happen to have ring tech, which sucks. rings are one of the most important techs for scaling, as well as you essentially want to ring around every planet. They're just good. And well, here's the solution for this, right? Is just buy more. Yeah, this is a ridiculous amount to buy, but why not? Our trade can afford it. Just so why not? Fleet management here as well. Build so, see, it happened. We're building mature maulers. I hate it when this happens. So that's why you have to deprioritize everything. I'm not gonna bother to change it because uh, it's annoying. But yeah, just keep your eye out for that and make sure you deprioritize the other classes of maulers, except for juvenile. Whenever you have a fleet that gains naval capacity, it's very easy for this to happen. As you can see, we're starting to go way over cap so quickly, which is crazy. Let's clear this quicksand basin, by the way, and get this going up into an EQ as well, and just get EQs taken everywhere that we can, because that would be amazing. So impassable mountain, definitely impassable. Unfindable tech is what it should be called, but unfindable tech. You know what we're even gonna do? I'm gonna pre-build construction ships. I'm literally just gonna build like 20 construction ships here, and this way we'll have more than enough construction ships when that happens. And I don't even know what I want to take here. We'll just finish prosperity. At this point, it's really fast, like almost 2k unity, right? Is this planet done? Nope. It needs one city district, and then it's an EQ. So yeah, we're looking good on EQs now. And yeah, this build speed feels amazing with the amount of modifiers that we now finally have. I wonder if we could fit prosperity in the first two, right? If you drop statecraft, then your leaders are going to be terrible level. And we have great level leaders, which is really efficient with anglers and the Minister of Trade, and it's just good in general. So it's like, I wonder if it would be worth it. Also, stupid crystals. Let's sell some food for that. Let's also just queue up a whole bunch of armies for no particular reason. Not perfected clone armies. I should be making the Gene Warrior armies. They're going to be way better. Should have made more of those. Oops. But yeah, more armies, always a good thing. In case you ever need to do an invasion, it's really nice to not have to build those up and then start the attack, because it can slow you down a lot. Like, you can eliminate an whole empire with enough armies in like years. Like, for example, if I want to get rid of these guys, I could full claim them, right? There's quite a bit of planets, but with 1,000 influence, you probably would have just about enough. And since we can go supremacist now, if we want to, right, for extra naval capacity, we could full claim these guys, and then sweep in and probably eliminate them in like 3 years if you have enough armies, which is why it's so important to have A, good armies, and B, enough good armies. And what we're going to do here is we're going to build the Metallurgic Research Lab, and then immediately queue up the EQ. And then I believe we have another EQ on one of these planets waiting. I think it's this one. City District, and then EQ. Right? Like, our minerals are just about keeping up with an EQ every 3 years. So, like, yeah. Good job. Good job, Biomorphosis. You're so broken. It's just so broken. Let's go ahead and queue up more. No, not Elder Maulers. I did it again after mentioning to myself not to do it. There we go. Now they're making juvenile maulers. That's fine. Luckily, with Elder Maulers, at least they didn't queue that many of them. So, oh, we finally got tier 2 composite mandibles. A little late. Definitely a little late, I would say. But it's not even like it's because of our engineering research being bad. Our engineering research is good, to be honest. Yeah, just not the best RNG, I would say. Not the best. Not the most important, though, right? Because even though we have not the best RNG, this tech is going to scale through the roof really, really quickly, especially once the EQs finish. Oh, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And yeah, our rare crystal situation is definitely not looking good. I really wish, okay, the way these buildings work is really dumb. I think you should be able to build multiple on the same planet. Because what if I just need twice as many crystals as gases? The only way I can get more is by building more industrial jobs. But what if I don't need the other resources, or I don't need the industrial resources, right? Like, so if I could just build, I queued up Elder Maulers again. This is why I don't like biofleets for for things. There's just too much micro. But like, imagine if I could just queue up. What was I freaking saying earlier? I already forgot. Who knows? Who cares? Let's go ahead and build more tech. Yeah, that's an ADHD moment. I apologize, guys. If you remember what I was talking about, it's probably really annoying, but I don't. Um, so let's continue and keep vibing. Keep vibing. Yeah, make sure these are all good. You know what? Honestly, I don't even have to continuously build fleets at this point. Like, honestly, what AI is beating a stack of 70,000 high quality maulers? And that's with edicts off, right? I could turn edicts on and be even more overpowered. Of course, we don't need to do that. I guess I should upgrade my existing ones, right? Because that's not a bad idea. We have too much food as well. This always happens in the mid game. Um, and then as you develop, you'll run to a food shortage, and then you get fallen empire buildings, and then you'll be infinite in everything, and you'll be limited by lag at that point. So, yeah, lag is the ultimate killer of all Stellaris runs. So yeah, beware. I have not found the late game scaling technology to solve lag yet, except for maybe IRL wallets, which can help, but they can help, but they don't solve the problem. After all, they alleviate the problem. They make it more tolerable, not fixed. Definitely not fixed. And yeah, we're barely able to keep up with these techs anymore either, which is both a good thing and an annoying thing. And we somehow dodged orbital rings at year 45 with nearly 1,000 engineering tech, which is typical Stellaris, I guess. Like typical Stellaris. And yeah, we're not honestly not getting as good of a run as in my demonstration video, despite having less fleets, which is a little bit embarrassing. But um, you know what? We'll call this the talking penalty. Um, it's not really the talking penalty; it's the bad play penalty. But you know what I'm saying. Yeah, and the low alloy penalty. I did do 2 alloy planets in my other playthroughs, so yeah, it's definitely gonna be a lot weaker without 2 alloy planets, especially before this arcology project is done. And then once that arcology project is done, we'll have basically unlimited alloys and then only limited food, and then you can imagine where that's gonna go from there. Um, But if I'm being completely honest, right, at this point we've already basically gone infinite, right? Yes, we're not at 10k tech, we're not at whatever, but it's really a matter of time. And I would say the important thing is that no AI can come close to challenging you at this point, right? It doesn't really matter what any AI can do, I'd say, in a regular game against non other biomorphosis players. You will be clearing them as well in a lot of senses, right? Like, who is outscaling this at this point? Um, I guess you could run to some Fauna players with enormously annoying fleets at this point as well. Like, you can run to Fauna players with probably like 200,000 plus Fauna fleets at this point, which is definitely annoying. But I mean, just build up Maulers, right? I forgot we can finally give them the tier 2 composite mandibles, which is a nice touch, but honestly, not even mandatory, right? And yeah, I guess at this point, the real play would be to convert one of these tech worlds into an alloy world if you want to go military, and if you want to just play for fun, like I am right now, you can just continue on with 3 tech planets and kind of greed that out. Yeah, whatever we take here is honestly not so important, so we'll take Cosmogenesis. And these is kind of all the recommended traditions I have. After this, it's really up to you. I'd say megastructures are really bad now. You really don't need megastructures, as your planets are megastructures. Uh, like, how much minerals does a uh, matter decompressor make? 2,000, 3,000? Great. My mineral planet without Fallen Empire buildings is making 1,300 minerals, and it doesn't have a ring. It's not even a maxed out regular planet, right? And then after this, I can put a ring on it, I can expand it, I can give it mastery of nature, I can strip mine it for 10 mining district. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things I can do to make that planet more ridiculous that haven't been done. Yeah, I should be building those, right? Because oh wait, I should be building the EQ. Yeah, but we can queue up some strongholds as well because we're gonna need those as well. Um, yeah, at this point you can really see how it's basically trivial to go infinite, or not go infinite, but just continuously scale up to the point where you cannot be stopped. You can research higher tier ships now. I mean, Maulers are really good, even out to like basically against any AI ship. They're not. I don't think they're the best against the Crisis, but Stingers are amazing for the Crisis because they're just like double X slot or they triple X slot. I can't remember. There's like a million X slots on Stingers, but I haven't been focusing on finding those. So yeah. Anyhow, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I think you guys definitely get the idea of what makes this build so strong. Let's just watch this Achemenopolis finish because it's been in the making for a while, so it's always nice to see that pay off. And yeah, we can really see 3K tech. Very soon, unlimited trade. When this is done, unlimited alloys. Um, Fallen Empire technologies are on the way soon as well, right? Like, yeah, Biomorphosis, what a crazy build. 77,000 fleets year 48 is not as good as my playthrough where I had like almost 300,000, but like let's just turn on the edicts to show how strong it can be with the edicts on. Um, and that is like, yeah, basically a 100k fleet. Um, Also, if you guys would like to see how to play Biomorphosis out of anything that's not overtuned, right, which can get the kind of cheaty early Ascension, please let me know. I would say basically the way you play it is the same style, except you really dip into trade with 2 commercial nexuses on your capital and use trade and parliamentary and or memorialist with the monument in order to rush unity. Parliamentary plus memorialist is probably the best option for that. Um, and then you play with alloy ships because you'll run out of food without anglers, so you have to play anglers if you take 2 Unity Civics. There's definitely a lot of options. Anyhow, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it, and I'll see you guys next time, and subscribe for more builds.